Hello and welcome to tutorial 182, and a GoldPass member asked me how I would go about creating a program that worked out the highest pivot within a certain number of bars. So this is not the highest pivot on the chart, it's simply within a certain number of bars. Now I've got that set up in this tutorial at the moment with a user input of 20. So that means if we count back from any one of these points, then that is going to be the highest within 20. So if we count these dots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That was the highest pivot at that point. But after those 20 bars are gone, then the highest pivot was actually this pivot here, and you can see here we start counting from that until we get down to here when this pivot becomes the highest pivot. Now of course it doesn't need to be a low number like 20. We could set this to be something like 200 or even greater, so let's just do that. I'm just going to go in here. You can also set the left strength, right strength, and then we're just going to put in the look back bars, and we'll see a similar effect. This is showing us that the highest pivot was actually some way back here, and you can see how that changes as we go along based on the number of the look back number of bars. So let's have a look at the program, which is available for download, and it's also available at no cost to GoldPass members. We're going to be using the dictionary and vectors, so this won't work in MultiCharts. In the one statement we create the dictionary, we create the two vectors, index and values, and then we do the standard code for finding a pivot. We have here pivot, looking for the pivot of the high. We're going to look right length plus 1 ago, and we've got left strength of left strength and a right strength of right strength. We're finding the most recent pivot, and we're looking for a high pivot, and then the value is going to be returned in O pivot price and O pivot bar. So we need that not to be -1. If it's -1, there isn't a pivot. If it isn't -1, there is a pivot, and we do this at the end of the bar. If we find a pivot, then we plot. Now because the pivot has a right strength, we need to plot it a few bars back to align it with the actual pivot. We do that using right strength in square brackets, and then the value high of right strength. Then what we also do in this tutorial is we're going to add the bar number and the price to a dictionary. Now because the index is going to be a string, what we're doing, we're converting the bar number to a string. Okay, so we do that, we check on every bar for a new pivot. When we find a pivot, we add it to the dictionary. Okay, and then what we do at the end of each bar, we copy the keys into an index. Now this is a function of the dictionary that by using .keys, that can go directly into a vector, and we're putting it into our index vector. So that is in effect the bar numbers. And then what we do, we go through all the values, and we check if the current bar number minus the value of this index converted to a number is greater or equal to LookbackBars. If it is, we remove those values from the dictionary. In other words, we don't need the previous values because they're outside the tolerance of our lookback bars. Having done that, we take the values from the dictionary, and just like with the .keys, we can do that using .values. That can go straight into the vector, which we've called values. And if you're not familiar with this, if you right click on .values and put definition, you'll see that it says here, get the vector collection of sort values from the dictionary. So we get the values into a values vector, and we then sort this vector. Now we're using this thing called Vector Quicksort, which is a program that I created a while back. You can find more details about it in tutorial 95, and I've put the link here in the program. But what that does is it goes through the vector, sorts it. We can then find the highest value in value 0, and then we plot that value, pivval, and that is it. As simple as that. Just to quickly open the function, probably the best thing is to go to tutorial 95 and you'll be able to see how this thing works. But the interesting thing is it's doing the sort using recursive calls, so calling itself. So that might also be of interest to you. And of course, if you do download the tutorial 182, this program is included. Okay, so if you are not part of the Markplex email list, then please go to markplex.com and join the email list. Also, if you are interested in this sort of video, then of course subscribe to this video channel. Thank you very much.